Alright, hello everyone, I'm Will Santana. I'm here with my buddy John.
Hello world.
Okay, we're here to review the Blu-ray movie for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I reached out to John. He told me he was a big fan of the movie, he enjoyed it. He hasn't watched the Blu-ray yet, but he did see it in the theater, right?
Right.
You saw it on day of release, or you saw it a couple days, a week?
I believe it was the day of.
Day of, okay.
Day of, yeah.
Okay, but are you a fan of the original Planet of the Apes?
Man, all the way back to the 60s, man. Of course, I wasn't born in the 60s. But my pops, he's a big fan of, Planet of the Apes, Three Stooges, things of that nature. So he kept a lot of classics around. So my first wave was the Mark Wahlberg wave.
Oh, okay.
So I hopped on that wave, and I was like, damn, that's pretty good. And
you like the Mark Wahlberg?
I did, because I didn't know. I didn't know the backstory. I seen that, and I was like, damn, this is pretty good. So then I did research, and I was like, wait a minute, there's a whole history here. Okay. So once I got caught up on that and tied it with the new, I was like, I mean, it's still good. Okay. But nothing compares. Nothing compares to the original. Yeah, nothing compares to the original than what they got going now. Okay. It's kind of like that was null and void simply because they went back so far to illustrate what took place.
Well, if you're a fan of Tim Burton, you'll like the Mark Wahlberg version.
Indeed.
I'm half and half with Burton. I like some of his stuff.
So you telling me you don't like Halloween Before Christmas? So you telling me you're not a fan of...
Well, you talking about Nightmare Before Christmas?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well, he didn't direct that.
I thought that was a Tim Burton movie.
He produced it.
Come on.
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think he directed it because it has his features, like his style, but he did not direct it. The guy who directed that movie also did James and the Giant Peach. Oh. Okay, we're back. Had to pause real quick. And I can see why people get confused. It does say Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas on the cover.
I'll try.
If not, I'll post a photo, guys. But on the back, it actually says it was directed by Henry Selick.
Yeah, Henry Selick.
Okay, but I can see how most people would get confused because I didn't know that either. You know, so it's something I learned about 2 or 3 years ago. I actually learned myself, and I had to do a review on that movie and James and the Giant Peach. Have you seen Spaceballs?
Yeah, I've seen Spaceballs.
Do you remember the ending where they had the Planet of the Apes little parody in there?
Yeah, the parody at the end. So, they had a bunch of parodies, but yeah.
The Planet of the Apes, so that was in there. So Planet of the Apes has had a fan base. It's been around for a long time.
Absolutely.
I'm actually more of a fan of the original movies, but today's the new series that's out of it, it's up there, man.
Yeah, it's
definitely up there. I'm a big fan of the first movie with James Franco and Freida Pinto.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's get into this new one.
All right, let's do it.
All right, well, this new one was directed by Matt Reeves. You may know him from Cloverfield and Let Me In. I actually love Let Me In. Yeah, I didn't like Cloverfield though.
I mean, the shaking of the camera. That was one thing, but I mean the storyline was decent.
Storyline was decent.
I'm not too familiar on Let Me In, but I can speak for Cloverfield. I mean, it was decent. It was a decent movie.
Well, it's directed by Matt Reeves and it stars Jason Clarke. He plays Malcolm.
Right.
And Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
He's a vet.
Yeah, they don't know who he is though. Some don't know who he is.
I call him Commissioner Gordon every time I see him, or Dracula.
Fair enough.
So you may know him from the Dark Knight series. He also played Dracula with Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. Yeah. Well, it continues about 10 years after the first movie. The human race has been hit with a virus. It was hit with a virus, and the apes, they're not really running the world because they kind of were off in the forest. Right. They seem to have the higher population, correct?
Absolutely.
And basically, the movie really, it's hard to say who was the main actor because I thought the movie was going back and forth between monkeys and humans. I thought it was 50-50. Right. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know who to cheer for. Because they both had their own struggles, and they both had their own problems, and they both had to protect themselves, and both were trying to survive.
Yeah, definitely a movie about survival.
And I guess as humans, you tend to favor humans more. Right. But I kind of was caught in between. Have you ever seen a movie called Hard Candy?
Hard Candy, can't say I have.
That's a movie you need to check out after this review. You definitely need to watch that movie. That is a movie where I was so confused, I didn't know who to root for. Well, this movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, really reminded me of that movie, where I didn't know who to root for because the humankind needs electricity, they need power, they need heat and everything to survive. Where the monkeys don't need that stuff, but they fear the humans. The humans have guns and the higher technology.
Exactly.
So, but if you put yourself in the, I'm not saying we're monkeys, but if you put yourself in their shoes, you can see why they were so protective of themselves, you know?
I mean, absolutely, especially if you see the first one. I mean, it's easy for you to kind of side with Caesar because you watch his evolution. You've seen him go from just a primitive being to more of an intelligent species through, you know, what I don't know if I should even say, but how that progressed to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and just his evolution in general. I mean, it was easy for you to side with him if you've seen the struggle. So when it starts off with just the apes and not so much of the humans, then when humans come in, it's kind of like they were violating or stepping on their territory to begin with. So you're already siding with them because you're rooting for them because you want to see what's going to happen. So I mean, I can understand that. But then you talk about child molesting and everything. That's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole nother movie. But like the way the movie set itself, it would show the apes, then go to the humans, combine them together, split them back up, and you see both of their struggles. So I just was like going back and forth. I was just being so entertained that I didn't know who to cheer for, and I'm just hoping the best for both of them. Can both of them move on and live in peace? You know, that's how I was hoping for the movie.
That's what you hope for.
But I'm not gonna say what happened.
No,
but what did you really like about this movie? Is it one of your top 5 movies of the year?
Well, yeah, of this year, I would have to say so. Now, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but I mean, one of my favorite parts is just, I guess, when it comes kind of full circle with the humans and then the apes, where it comes to a point where they have to figure out how to get along together for the sake of the greater good of both.
That's not that's not really a spoiler in my opinion. That happens pretty early in the movie, in my opinion.
Fair enough. So,
but I know what you're trying to say because I know you can push it where it can't spoil it. So he's not really spoiling it.
So so it's kind of a vital point in the movie, and then you see how the apes aren't just, you know, just some primitive creatures. You know, because they understand the need for what the humans need, and then the humans are trying to be sympathetic to what they have going on. They don't want to impose harm, but neither do the apes. So they have to kind of come together to make it all make sense for the better good of both races, I guess you could say. I don't know races. So yeah, I mean, that would probably be my favorite, man.
This movie had survival.
Absolutely.
Education.
Yes.
It had love. It had children involved in it. Compassion.
With the kids.
Action. CG. It had a lot of.
CG was awesome.
It had a lot of stuff going on. I don't see how anyone cannot like this movie. I have to recommend it.
Absolutely.
What would you score this movie on a 1 through 5?
1 to 5, I give it a 4.
You give it a 4?
I give it a 4 just based on the, I mean, you're incorporating real life with CG, okay? Now, I'm not taking away from any of that because it was excellent. But there's always room for improvement when you have something like that that's going on. Now, if you compare this one to the first one, you can see the drastic change.
I would score this movie probably a 4.5 over you. An extra 0.5 over you. I think I would give it an extra 0.5 because of the villains in the movie. I feel like I could understand why they were such rebels, and you know why they kind of rebelled against their camps. Like Koba, for example. Koba had been caged for so long, and you know he was treated wrong. You saw the cage. Remember in the first film how those guys were treating them and everything. They were beating them and just teasing them with food and
shock therapy and all that.
Shock therapy, you know, it was brutal. So that's all he known of humankind, you know. So, and the same thing in the human side, you know, they didn't trust the apes. They had taken over land. The apes knew how to defend. They knew how to kill. So they didn't trust them either. So I can understand. I don't remember the main villain. Was it Gary Oldman was the main villain, right?
No, Gary Oldman was the voice. No, I'm sorry.
No. Gary Oldman. He was Dempsey.
Oh right. The one, he was actually the leader for the human.
Yeah, he was the leader.
Movement.
Right. So I definitely understand why both parties felt that way. So even though in the movie they portrayed the villains, I was still siding with them somewhat. I'm telling you, I was all over the place in this movie. I was able to predict some of it.
Right.
Some of it I didn't predict. So I thought that was good. I hate when a movie you watch it, you can just predict everything that's about to happen. You know, they did a little bit of foreshadowing.
Gave it a 4 because I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, we seen how Caesar was treated. You know, he had that compassion from his, I guess, I won't say parent, but his owner, I guess. He had that compassion, you know, the compassionate side of a human, where Koba only had the, you know, the, I guess not just evil but animalistic side. Yeah, you know what I mean. Obviously, the kid that was mistreating Koba, he wanted to project how he was feeling or how he's been treated. So I mean, the dichotomy of human and primate, I mean, it's all kind of jumbled up. But then the way they displayed in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, from the perspective of Koba, he wants to make sure he is the defender of what they've established and fought so hard for. You know, he kind of sees his leader kind of fending towards the so-called enemy. Like, you're giving him a little bit too much slack, man. Yeah. We fought too hard for this. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, you could really understand both points of views on it, even though the audience is obviously going to favor Caesar. Yeah. Which I did too, of course. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I understood Koba's point of view. I definitely did. Yeah. So this is a movie. Would you recommend this to everybody?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't even think it's worth the rental. I don't think it's worth waiting on Netflix. Go out and buy it, you know? And if the Blu-ray is too expensive, man, go half with somebody. It has a combo pack. Give them the DVD. You keep the Blu-ray.
Don't be cheap. Get the Blu-ray. If you have a Blu-ray, why not get the Blu-ray? I mean, if you have a DVD, I mean, of course. But come on, man. Get the Blu-ray.
Get the Blu-ray, right?
Get the Blu-ray.
Get the Blu-ray. Well, you know, the visual, I thought it looked great. Colors were pristine. It was on point. The camera was sharp. The contrast was on there. Black was on point. The movie looks excellent, man.
It was, man.
Whether you saw it in the theater or on Blu-ray on HD, you know.
Great cinematography.
Yeah, great, man. I got to give the Blu-ray visual a 4.5.
I'm going to stick with my 4, but I mean, I'm not mad at you.
And the audio had the action. Yeah. The dialogue from the Apes is kind of hard to understand. Okay. I watched it with subtitles.
Well, you would have to.
I watched it because it was kind of late. Right. But I think you could probably understand them clearly. Yeah. I felt it was a little bit of a mumble, but the subtitles helped me anyway. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because some of them, they were actually doing sign language.
Yeah, some of them were doing sign language.
Right, okay.
But definitely overall, I'm going to give the audio a 4.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't have any complaints with the audio.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stick with the 4 routine because I didn't see any flaws in it originally seeing it, but now that he's bringing it up, there was a lot of the sign language incorporated with the subtitles. Once again, I seen it in the theater when it came out. He's seen it on the Blu-ray. So I'm not sure. There could be a little difference there too, but I see no problems with the audio.
Okay. So overall, I think it's a great movie. I definitely think everybody should check it out. Watch the first one first, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It's a great movie. They're doing a sequel to this one, so there will be a trilogy to this. Yeah. And just to remind people, this is actually a prequel to the old 60s and 70s movies.
I'm not sure if they pieced that together.
They didn't piece it together, but it's showing you how it became Planet of the Apes, you know? Because if you watch the old 60s, 70s movie, it's already Planet of the Apes.
Right, they're in the midst of it.
Yeah, this is showing you how it happened, how it became, you know?
Right, how it became, and then with the Mark Wahlberg movie, how it ended. You know, when he came back to Earth, he was swarming with apes.
You Marvel fans, make sure you pay attention to the very end of this movie. There's a little teaser. I don't know if you stuck around in the theater.
Of course, I've seen it.
There's a little teaser here.
Spoiler alert.
There's a little teaser that's going to catch you for the next movie and everything. Yeah. But you got anything you want to say to wrap this up with?
Hey man, if you don't do anything else, I mean, I'm guessing if you stuck around to watch this review, you're a fan of Planet of the Apes, so give it a shot. I mean, I'm guessing by now you've seen the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, so give the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes the time that it needs to be soaked in, and just appreciate it for what it is. It's more than just, you know, your entertainment value. It has that. It has, you know, humanity in it. I mean, they're apes, but then they incorporate the humans into it, man. Just take the time out with your lady, man, and enjoy a good movie.
All right, I'm Will Santana. I want to thank John for coming over, man. I appreciate you. Sir. All right, man, and we're outro like a CD.
All right, man. Y'all be easy.